Tower blocks have always evoked strong feelings all over the world. They were seen by successions of planners as the answer to providing much-needed value-for-money housing with minimal use of land. In Glasgow alone, there are over 250 blocks housing 70,000 people. But the prospect of high living, glamorous apartments in the sky was in many cases unfulfilled. Glasgow has some of the best and the worst examples. In some areas, before they could even reach their homes, tenants had to negotiate a no-man's land at the base of the blocks. Dark, daubed and vandalized entrances, a feeling of menace, real or perceived. And once inside their doors, a sense of isolation, particularly for the elderly. The constant risk of break-ins, antisocial neighbours, the view from the top not so attractive when the vandals have worked on the lift. The pros were completely engulfed by the cons, resulting in hundreds of tower block flats lying empty and unwanted. Not anymore. The initiative of Glasgow City Housing in introducing the concierge scheme for its tower blocks is revolutionising high-rise life, and it's based on a surprisingly simple concept. Only those who live in the flats have unrestricted access to the tower block. They only receive visitors they want to see, and the security of their homes and environment is monitored 24 hours a day.
Over the years there has been many problems. There's a different lifestyle of living in the blocks, security, lifts, vandalism, free movement through the blocks has been a very big problem. The blocks had to be filled in all around the bottom because there were so many nooks and crannies that people were afraid of someone hiding in there. So we filled them in. The one door approach, where people can only approach the entrance to the block from one direction and be seen on camera. The tenant reaction's been quite superb, as you can imagine, after having lived in the blocks, quite a number of tenants for 20 years, and then finding themselves feeling safe in their own home. That has been the biggest reaction, just feeling safe.
It's hard to imagine that smart, bright entrance foyers were once areas covered in graffiti, strewn with rubbish and frequented by troublemakers. And outside there are now private and closed gardens, new lighting, clean and tidy surroundings. Nerve centre of the operation is the concierge reception. At least 2 trained staff are always on duty, 24 hours a day, every day. There's only one point of entry. Every non-resident must contact the concierge. There's a battery of closed-circuit TV cameras with every movement recorded on videotape. The entrance doors are electronically operated by a fob key unique to each tenant. If the key is reported lost, its individual number is wiped from the control computer. Another safeguard if a finder decides to be a keeper.
Well, it is a fact that crime has reduced quite dramatically. In fact, in some cases, no crimes at all committed since the concierge scheme was put in place. So obviously the people who stay in the flats are much safer and less vulnerable. I think one of the very sensible things that's happened is that the police and the housing department have been talking about this since the early days, and it's meant that the police have been able to do things to support this particular scheme at critical times. For example, we've been involved in the training of the staff, we've been involved in giving priority response in the early days of it working, and in the longer term we've been able to put community policemen into work with the concierge staff and with the tenants. We're satisfied with the emergency arrangements because obviously there's staff on hand to give us access. One of the problems of controlled entry systems where there's no staff available is that we sometimes can't get that access at the speed that we need. Well, there's no doubt that videotapes are very valuable evidence, and they can and will be used in the court if we're able to identify the individual. But they have a much more significant value, and that is that if people know they're going to be recorded, then they may not do what they were intending to do in the first place.
There are two-way phones in every flat, and the tenant can speak to the concierge at any time. But if the householder wants privacy, that's fine. It just takes a flick of a switch. Usually, though, it's nice to get a visit.
Hello, Mrs. Donoghue, that's your son down at reception for you.
Hello.
It's technology with a caring face. The staff soon get to know everyone. A smile, a nod, a cheery word in the passing. Little gestures that all add to the quality of life.
Oh no, I think I'll manage fine. I'll manage fine. See you later.
David Singh is a senior concierge with Glasgow City Housing.
Well, it's very important that we do get the trust of the tenants. If the tenant gives you a report that something's wrong, then you should act immediately to that report. Usually if they say there's an intruder in the block of flats, as soon as possible you get somebody up there to have a look around. You then go to the tenant and reassure them that you've been around. Oh no, certainly not a security guard, but a wide-ranging, as far as I'm concerned, it's wide-ranging. Part of it is security. Another part is the relationship that we build up between ourselves and the tenants. At first, some of the tenants were a bit apprehensive regarding the security side of it, like by having to use a fob key to get into the blocks, to get into the concierge office, then get into the blocks. They were a bit apprehensive, but now it's 99%, they're all for it. Certainly enjoy my job, and I get a lot of job satisfaction, especially having a close relationship with the tenants, helping the tenants, helping the old people. And to me, that is job satisfaction.
15 fourth place.
All members of the concierge staff receive special training, but they're not security guards. Certainly, they look after the safety of the tenants, keep an eye on empty houses during holiday periods, scrutinise visitors. But they also make sure the environs of the flats remain clean and tidy. They help with day-to-day problems such as burst pipes and faulty lifts. But most of all, they're there to care.
Good morning, Mrs. Johnson. It's the concierge station. We haven't seen you for a couple of days and we were wondering how you were keeping. Yes, And we wondered your hospital appointment is for 2 o'clock today and the taxi will be here about 1:45. Will that be okay for you? Fine.
One of the most pleasing aspects arising from the scheme is the way a community spirit has been reawakened in high-rise tower blocks. Where possible, space at ground level has been redesigned to include a community room. Face-to-face chats over a cup of coffee make a pleasant change from peering through a peephole. This community spirit results in tenants' associations flourishing.
When we first moved in 20 years ago, things were nice and quiet. Then eventually we started getting in trouble with vandalism to the flats. People loitering in the foyer areas, damage to the property, windows being smashed, people's lives just being upturned. At the very beginning, we said that the only thing to enhance the quality of life at the flats, and all flats throughout the city, was the introduction of some form of security, ideally 24-hour security. And we now have that in operation.
Those who live in the flats agree the cleaning standards and monitor repair work. They can also become involved in house letting, and the concierge team is there to coordinate it all. What the scheme has already achieved is nothing short of remarkable. The quality of life transformed. Another example of the partnership between the community and Glasgow City Housing. Not every tower block in the city will require the concierge scheme, but there are more in the pipeline.
Council policy will be to extend that to blocks that are under stress, and that we are looking at other simpler means of providing security in blocks where the degree of vandalism and fear is not of the same degree as in some other areas.
The concierge scheme has brought a growing demand for flats in these blocks. Furnished apartments for students and young people. A safe and happy place for families to grow up.
Estou?
Desculpa.
Doe je aan staan? Doe je
A secure and caring environment for the elderly. A real community.
I look at the fact that we are the direct link between the tenants and the main district office, and we can sort out an awful lot of problems for the tenants.
The difference with the concierge now, there's someone there when they're coming in at night. You know, that they're reasonably safe coming into the blocks now.
I enjoy the job very much. I look forward to coming to my work and enjoy meeting the people. I believe it's a great thing to come to all the flats, hopefully in Glasgow.
The vandalism was terrible. the amount of vandalism there was. I mean, something like £40,000 worth of glass in a year. But we're hoping that that's all stopped now.
How to cope with their little problems, make them feel relaxed, and let them know that we're here basically to help them. Maybe carry a wee shopping bag, the lift, things like that.
Through the day it's different, but on being alone through the night, if anything should happen, then it's just really marvellous to know that I can just press that button. And I know somebody will be within a few minutes.
Good morning, concierge station, can I help you?